Hey, good day to you. This is Todd. I'm just a regular dude walking in the Word. Today we are jumping into Judges, and we are in chapter 19. We did the first part of chapter 19 yesterday, where we talked about the Levite and how ungodly he was. Okay, and then and then he thought, oh, I'm going to go to Gibeah, which is a godly town. Little did he realize it's far from godly. Okay. So the title of this today is The Trap of Sin, Part 2, Gibeah and the Benjamites. All right, we're going to be reading today from Judges 19, verses 16 through 30. But before we do that, I have a quote. It's from Nietzsche. It says, he wrote, this was years and years ago, he said, if God is dead, then everything is permitted. And you're going to find that here, in what we read today. It's in the Old Testament, it happens in the New Testament, which we're going to read that too. And it's happening today. You know, it's just a free-for-all. If God is not a part of your life, it's a free-for-all. You're just doing whatever you want to, and it's destruction, really. 2 Timothy 3, 1 through 5 says this. Let me get to it. 2 Timothy 3, 1 through 5. It says this, but mark this, there will be terrible times in the last days. We are getting close to the last days. I'm not sure if we're in the last days right this moment, but we're getting close to it, and it's obvious because of what's happening here. People will be lovers of themselves. You could stop right there, and that'd be enough. Everyone loves themselves today anyway, okay? But it's so much worse than that. Lovers of money, boastful, proud, abusive, disobedient to their parents, ungrateful, unholy, without love, unforgiving, slanderous, without self-control, brutal, not lovers of the good, treacherous, rash, conceited, lovers of pleasure rather than lovers of God, and having a form of godliness but denying its power. That was the way the Levite was. He was supposed to be a godly guy, but he wasn't living godly, and he was denying its power. The Bible says have nothing to do with those people. So let's read, let's go back to Judges here. Judges, we're picking it up in verse 16 of chapter 19. We're going to go all the way to the end of the chapter. It says this, that evening an old man from the hill country of Ephraim, who was living in Gibeah, and the inhabitants of that place were Benjamites, they came in from his work in the field. When he looked and saw the traveler in the city square, the old man asked, where are you going? Where did you come from? And he answered, we are on our way from Bethlehem in Judah to a remote area in the hill country of Ephraim, where I live. I have been in Bethlehem in Judah, and now I'm going to the house of the Lord. Oh, I love how he talks all religious here. No one has taken me in for the night. We have both straw and fodder for our donkeys, and bread and wine for ourselves and for our servants, and me and the woman and the young man with us. And we don't need anything. Okay, I just need a place to stay. We got all our supplies. Verse 20, you are welcome at my house, the old man said. Let me supply whatever you need. Only don't spend the night in the square. So this guy knows how wicked the city is. He's like, you need to stay with me. Don't stay out here. You'll be in trouble, okay? Verse 21. So he took them into his house and fed his donkeys, and after they had washed their feet, and they had something to eat and drink. While they were enjoying themselves, some of the wicked men of the city surrounded the house. Pounding on the door, they shouted to the old man who owned the house, bring out the man who came to your house so we can have sex with him. The owner of the house went outside and said to them, no, my friends, don't be so vile. Since this man is my guest, don't do this outrageous thing. Let me stop there. We're going to pick it up in verse 24. These guys were acting just like an earlier portion in the Bible, a story earlier in the Bible. Anyone know where that is? Yeah. Genesis. It's in the book of Genesis. Way back in Genesis, you had this story of Sodom and Gomorrah, and how it's like not word for word, but it's like the exact same thing happens. You know, they go into the house, and the town men want to come and have sex with the guys, a homosexual relationship. And the same thing is happening here. And so the thing was, Sodom was condemned, and the nation of Israel knew that, and they were destroyed because of their wickedness. Now Israel is acting exactly the same way, doing the exact same things. Okay, so they've turned away from God, and they're doing exactly the same things that the nations before them were doing, and they were destroyed. Okay? Verse 24, look, here is my virgin daughter and his concubine. I will bring them out to you now, and you can use them and do to them whatever you wish. But as for this man, don't do such an outrageous thing. Today, if you did something like that, you'd be like, well, they'd probably crucify you for, giving your, putting your virgin daughter out there to these guys. But then the concubine, this concubine that he loved so much and went back to travel all the way to Bethlehem to get, now he's just tossing her out there and says, don't hurt me, take the concubine. Okay? What I want you to see too is this. The women in that day and age were treated bad. Okay? They were treated as property. You will find that it was only through Jesus that the rights and the lives of the women changed. Christianity came along, and that changed the outlook for women. Okay, you look through history, and that's when it happened. Women were elevated, and Jesus had taught, and then Paul had taught that women and men were on equal footing. Okay, and you look at the other nations, other religions around, and they're still going back to treating women as property, especially Islam. Okay, so they're being treated as property here, and that's what's happening. He's like, don't hurt me, and let me throw my property out there. The concubine. Okay, terrible. Verse 25. But the men would not listen to him. So the men took his concubine and sent her outside to them, and they raped her and abused her throughout the night. At dawn they let her go. At daybreak the woman went back to the house where her master was staying, and fell down at the door and lay there until daylight. Okay, so she'd been abused all night long, and she went back to the house. Apparently she had some hope that this guy still loved her, even though he tossed her out, but she goes back to the house. There's probably no place else to go. And collapses there at the door. Okay? The door wasn't like waiting to be opened. Like, oh, you okay? No, she collapses at the door. Let me keep reading. Verse 27. When her master got up in the morning, very important what I just read there. When the master got up in the morning, he didn't lose any sleep during the night over this incident, okay, of tossing his concubine out there. He slept fine throughout the night, according to this. It's let me reread it. When her master got up in the morning and opened the door of the house and stepped out to continue on his way, there lay his concubine, fallen in the doorway of the house, with her hands on the threshold. Okay, he had slept fine during the night. He wakes up in the morning to go out, and there she is laying on the doorstep. This is what happens next. He said to her, "Get up, let's go." Now, how crazy is that? He just sends her out to be abused and raped all night, and then he expects her to just, like nothing happened. Let's just get up and go. But there was no answer. Then the man put her on his donkey and set out for home. Okay? It's very terrible what's happening here. Verse 29, when he reached home, he took a knife and cut up his concubine limb by limb into 12 parts and sent them into all areas of Israel. Everyone who saw it was saying to one another, such a thing has never been seen or done, not since the day the Israelites came up out of Egypt. Just imagine, we must do something about it. So speak up. What I want you to see here, well, there's a lot of things to see here, but that Levite could have cared less about his concubine. Okay, first of all, she was a concubine, not a former wife. Okay, then he just, the worst thing is to just leave her out and be abused all night long, and then to get up in the morning and expect like nothing happened and like let's go on home, and then she's dead, and then not even valuing her body enough to bury her properly. Then he cuts her up into 12 pieces, okay, to try and get his message across. And the thing that is annoying about this story is he acts like he's all pious and everything, and he is like a heathenistic guy here, okay? But let's focus on Gibeah too. Gibeah was in the tribe of Benjamin, and it was Benjamites that lived there, okay? And they had fallen so far into sin that they were acting just like the people of Sodom, okay? So the thing you need to see from this whole story is the trap of sin. The trap of sin, it not only got, Micah, who we talked about in the previous chapter, it's getting this Levite. Levite is living so ungodly, but it's the whole tribe of Benjamin now, okay, is living in such an ungodly way, okay? So that trap of sin has sucked everybody in. Everyone is living just for themselves. And like Nietzsche said, if God is dead, then everything is permitted. And that's the way they were living. They were living like there is no God. We're just going to live for ourselves. That concludes for today. The trap of sin. I'm just a regular dude walking in the Word, and I'll see you tomorrow as we move on to chapter 20. They're gonna try and resolve this situation. Oh, that'll be a hoot. Okay? Thanks for watching. I'm just a regular dude walking in the Word, and I'll see you tomorrow as we jump into Judges.